Dame and I had an altercation, right? We had 2 altercations.
The Steve Stoute dude still talking about me. And you have to think to yourself, why would this dude that has some United Masters, he's doing his own thing, why is he doing interviews talking about me smacking him, 20 years ago?
Steve Stoute says Dame Dash ran from him. He tries to expose him. But don't worry, Dame responded. Let's talk about it. This is Fresh Hip-Hop Opinion with your guy Alize. Don't forget to subscribe. So yes, Steve Stoute was on a podcast. I believe it was the Pivot podcast. And for some reason, they asked about Dame Dash. The interviewer said, Dame Dash went upside your head. What is the deal between you and Dame? And Steve Stoute, he responded. But he came out with something that we've never heard before. Check it out.
Dame and I had an altercation, right? We had 2 altercations. We were in an office at Sony, not at Sony, at his record, we were in the same building. There was like 10 guys in the room, I was by myself, and we got into an altercation. No doubt. Yelling, fighting, whatever. About 2 years later, I seen him, we were on the same street, and it was him by himself. He had 2 girls with him. I went to step to him. This man pushed the girl in front of me and took off running. The girl he pushed in front of me falls and then sues me. The insurance company pays out her just to not even have lawyers. They just write, just approve it, Steve. They don't even tell me. They just settle, whatever it is they settle is, $30,000 or some bull, nothing. He pushed the girl faking to fall on the floor, my ankle, all of the About 5 hours after that, we're at Kanye's party, and the girl walks up to me and tells me, you don't remember me? I'm like, no. A girl walks up to me and tells me, you don't remember me? I'm like, no. She says, I was the girl who sued you. The money that you gave us, we used to settle out in LA, to move out to LA, thank you. Wow. That's his woman now. So we've always had a thing with each other. What do we want me to say, man? He's in bad shape. He's been in bad shape for a long time. He's not tough. I'm not saying I'm tough. I certainly was not running and doing jumping jacks in the street to get the cops to stop and then had some girl sue me. I didn't do no like that, But that's him, man. That's him.
Yeah, fam. Now, we've all heard the altercation that Dame hit Steve Stoute, slapped him. But we've never heard of Steve Stoute and Dame Dash having an altercation, a couple altercations, and one that Dame Dash ran away. Immediately, I heard that. I said cap. It's a lie. Look, Steve Stoute's no small guy. He's a big guy, but for someone to run away from Steve Stoute like he's 50 Cent in his prime? Ninja, please. But it was funny the way he said Dame was doing jumping jacks to call the cops to alert them. I've never heard that before. I've never heard it put that way. But I'll give him that, it was funny. But the story just sounded totally fabricated. But like I said, people, Dame responded real quick. Check it out.
Someone sent me a clip of, the Steve Stoute dude still talking about me. And you have to think to yourself, why would this dude that has some United Masters, he's doing his own thing, why is he doing interviews talking about me smacking him, 20 years ago? And to me, there just must be an agenda. There must be a conversation like, yo, you got to go out there. You got to go talk about him. I understand that I would be aggravated if somebody smacked me too. But he's making up stories. He's lying. He said that I ran from him. And of course that's going to trigger me because that's ridiculous. I would run from him and Rocky was there. So it's I'm like, why are these guys talking about me? There must be a conversation and an agenda to try, or I must have some people shook because I might have something that someone doesn't have. And, I'm not the kind of guy that let somebody smash me on the head with a bottle and then go take a picture with him a couple of years ago like he did. I'm just not that guy. You know? So again, people sometimes make it obvious when there is some degree of a conversation and an agenda to making sure that people look at me a certain way. But let's just look at what I'm trying to do and look at what I've done and look at what I continue to do all on my own. And yeah, you know why I'm not going to certain parties. You know why I'm not going to be in certain crowds. I'm just not tolerant of certain things. That's all. I'm just not tolerant of certain things. Steve got hit in the head with a bottle. And then he sued the person that hit him in the head with a bottle. And then that very person he takes pictures with and hangs out with and still cool with. And I'm sure you could squash certain things, but I'm just saying I'm just not really cut from that kind of cloth. I don't know why everybody wants to send certain people. There's certain people that always are defending certain people and talking about me. And I know that they're sent to do it. And Steve Stoute's one of those pause, burger face, stupid, will do anything anybody tells him for $1, hate his culture. And I just want to know who sent you, but you're making it obvious. And why you won't leave me the phone. You know what I mean? Is reasonable not worth what? It depends on how you look at it. Like, to me, if you look at it as an art piece, yeah, it's worth a lot. If you look at it for the bread it generates, no, it's not worth, what I'm asking. Nope, not at all. And I think that's clear. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I didn't go to those parties. I'm sorry. I went to one in the Hamptons about 20 years ago with Aaliyah, but that's about it. But a lot of people were at those, you know what I mean? Type in America, type in NU, check the network out. We're up to 80,000 downloads, and I'm really proud of that. It's not easy to do that. And I feel like we haven't really truly launched, haven't put $1 in promotion. It's been just me and a direct connection with my culture, And again, I'm proud of that. And yeah, what you know about Dame Dash is, yeah, he might yell, but I'm yelling to protect the culture when I do yell.
Yeah, fam. Dame had to squash this story real quick. He said the fact that Steve said he ran from him is what triggered him. And of course, Dame's a proud man. And Steve Stoute's no big bully type. So for the narrative of Dame to be running from him, it's not a good look. But to be fair, I think most people will hear this story and just think this can't be true. It kind of reminds me when Ja Rule said he beat up 50 Cent. We're just looking at Ja, and then we look at Fifth, and I'm just thinking, nah. But Dame, of course, had to poke fun at Steve Stoute again as well, referencing to when somebody hit Steve Stoute with a bottle, and then Steve sued the person, won the case, and is now taking pictures with them. But yeah, Steve Stoute, he just comes off as someone that, if there's money to be made, all morals and principles go out the window. And like Dame said, look, if someone hit me over the head or slapped me, I'll be still mad at them too. And maybe Steve Stoute still has some venom for Dame, because it's not the first time he spoke about him at interviews. Like, to be fair, he can't help what the interviewer asks, but it seems almost like it's organized beforehand. But Dame kind of feels that way too, because he was saying it's kind of a conspiracy why they're trying to dirty his name, and he feels like it's coming from a certain person. Which, if you read between the lines, he's talking about Jay-Z. Jay-Z takes a major league L from Dame Dash. Oh boy. So yes, some news that Jay-Z definitely won't be liking. I'll give you the backstory real quick. Dame Dash lost a defamation case to a film producer not too long ago, and he was ordered to pay something crazy, like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, to this individual. Now obviously Dame doesn't have the money, so the judge ordered him to sell 1/3 of his ownership in Rockefeller Inc. So Dame in late August was due to have an auction, and the starting price was in the early millions. Dame was promoting it on his network America New, but as the auction date was coming up, Jay-Z and his legal team decided to put out a statement to try and devalue the auction. Man, that's some hating move. they were warning potential buyers that Jay-Z will eventually own what they're about to buy in a matter of a couple years. Basically trying to put them off buying it. Obviously Dame came out with his own statements. Wasn't too happy with that, of course. But there's been a development, people, and I'll let Dame explain. Check it out.
I know a lot's going on, but something was filed in the court on Friday that my lawyer brought to my attention, and I was really surprised that TMZ and that the Breakfast Club and Earn Your Leisure haven't spoken about this yet. But to me, this is something that's very relevant. So this was filed by New York State, not me. Jay-Z's statements to the press have poisoned the environment for the auction. He has claimed that he has a termination right under the Copyright Act and that the rights of reasonable doubt will revert to him in 6 years. In fact, he has no such termination right, and RAF is entitled to renewal term, which is now 67 years, meaning it will own the copyrights until the year 2098. Not 7 or 6 years like everyone was promoting, but till 2098, another 100 years, at least. In other words, the highest possible auction price could be more than 10 times higher than it is likely now. Given Jay-Z and RAF's actions, RAF is complicit by its inaction in pushing back such false statement. So that was filed by the state, and that means that, in fact, Homeboy does not get his rights back completely in 6 years or 7 years or whatever was promoted. So every single person that took the time to promote, why would you buy it if you only get it for 5-6 years? Everyone that took the time to repost TMZ, Earn Your Leisure, Breakfast Club, whoever else was talking it, please correct your statement and repost this and let it be known that reasonable doubt, the rights stayed with Rockefeller Inc. for the next 100 years. And it said it should be worth 10 times more. So if that was an issue with you before, it should not be now. And again, we'll see who promotes it, because you promoted the other side, which was not true. But in this moment, we still for sale. This chain is still available. I launched America New. No one else showed up with a network. And this dude, Steve Stoute, is lying through his teeth ridiculously, talking about I might have ran from his punk, which is hilarious to me, in front of my girl Raquel. And that, I smacked it, but I was around 10 other people, but that was a lie. Jay-Z was in the room, and Jay-Z couldn't do shit. Ask about that. Steve Stoute, stop lying. Whoever's telling you to talk about me all day long, tell them, why don't you just leave him alone? Let me get over, let me just heal. Okay, he smacked me for him in front of his son. I'll tell you that whole story later as well. But now you talking it and you popping it, I gotta talk about it. Holla back.
Yeah, fam. Dame would also put this in the caption. The state of NY has stepped in and filed the following to the courts. Jay-Z's statements to the press have poisoned the environment for the auction. He has claimed that he has a termination right under the Copyright Act, and the rights to reasonable doubt will revert to him in 6 years. In fact, he has no such termination right, and RAF is entitled to the renewal term, which is now 67 years, meaning it will own the copyright rights until the year 2098. In other words, the highest possible auction price could be more than 10 times higher than is likely now, given Jay-Z's and RAF's actions. RAF is complicit by its inaction in pushing back against such false statements. Let's see if y'all talk about that. And he's called out the big ones, TMZ, Earn Your Leisure and them. He even had one more shot at Steve Stoute, saying, Steve Stoute, keep my name out your mouth and stop lying. Drop your network. And your man Jay-Z was in the room when I slapped the ish out of you, and he did nothing. But we talk about that later. Hashtag CEO war. And Dame went Tupac on them. Took no prisoners. Called them all out. But in a nutshell, what we all thought, that Jay-Z would get the rights to Reasonable Doubt in just a matter of a few years, apparently is not gonna happen. Which is the first time I've heard of this. Normally, an artist gets their masters and rights to the album after 30 years. But I don't know, this is some legal stuff, maybe is above my head. Not gonna lie. I can see this really getting into some real deep legal action, because Jay-Z clearly is a petty guy and really wants the rights to what he wants. And he's got the legal team, he's got the money, and I think there's a bit of bad blood between these two. And Steve Stoute, well, we all know Dame and Steve Stoute don't get along. I can see that narrative carrying on as well. But that's just my opinion. I want to know yours. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.